Hey, how's it going? Hey, it's Nick. Nick's 4th of April, middle of the month today here in mid Missouri. Anyway, just going ahead and talking about rough and economics and all that other crazy stuff going on. I'll let you know, real estate agents and brokers, your days are numbered post. Um, the rates are going to start really rising up. 5%, anything under 7% is pretty good as far as rates go forever. But the thing is, there's going to be a major recession. It's going to be a depression. It's going to be why you guys are so toast. It's going to be like 2008. I know some of the other trainers have been talking about it, but the thing is, a real estate agents and mortgage brokers say you don't have the skill sets to go forward. I mean, even after I got crushed in 2008, so I could keep producing and doing stuff because of the bend in the road. But thing is, what are you guys going to do? Your mortgage brokers, a lot of these and real estate agents in these companies, the broker owners and stuff like that, a lot of these franchises are going to, unless they've got deep pockets, close a bunch of stores or a bunch of franchise. Tenants will probably go out of business too, like I saw last time. Yeah, kind of interesting last time because a lot of companies went out of business, and I saw tons of companies go out of business, but a lot of little mom and pop independents started popping money. But I don't know how big are you. If you're not big enough to survive it, you're going to get crushed. And you're already starting to see it. Talking about, I read stuff all over the U.S. about it, but the problem is, Stump said about 7 months ago, 8 months ago in a video, and he was talking about the agents today, especially the new ones, not ones that have been doing years plus, but a lot of agents that they don't have the skill sets because they came in with, and so it was easy to sell because it's pretty good. Even though they had 2021 was the best year they had, 2020 was a second. As far as sales goes, Mike Ferry talked about it, but they get crushed. Now, if you're an investor, yeah, it's a good time to wait. The Feds are about the BlackRock, the CIO, and some of the other hedge funds like that. They're going to have to be blasted up. They're talking 3 to 4 point hedge off the hedge off the inflationary stuff that's in range. Inflation is going to go up another % across the board. So without, if you don't have the skills, an agent, and most agents and mortgage brokers aren't big enough anyways, and most mortgage broker shops are under 10. But the problem is, you got a lot of real estate agents out aren't making 6 figures anyways, and they're going to get crushed. A lot of the fine because of the subprime, non-prime, and not using that, and they're using less and less down. I mean, FHA will sit in VA. You'll have a lot of conventional loans. Fannie Mae conventional 3%, but a lot of covered by the government. But they're going to start saying only insures 20% of the loan, and the banks will eat it. But $2.7 trillion of bond debt got blown up, and with bond debt, these notes that aren't satisfied as far as, because they're not covered, blank, essentially blank checks out in the middle of nowhere, and they're going to get like 2008. A lot of the companies out in the last 4 years as far as mortgage, going to get maybe the last 5 years technically, but they're going to get caught too because they're looking for high. But some of the bonds and some of the other side treasury notes like MTNs, now I was talking to somebody, MTNs right now are going around 5.75%, and right now the treasury yield is only about what, 2.75, 65, 2.75. So people can easily double their money going to that or different type of corporate bond. But you got a lot of corporate bonds where real estate agents and mortgage brokers can be like worse than 2008 because you're going to get hit. You're not going to have the skill sets to make it. The problem is you're not trained well enough. And back to what Stump was saying, only the owner or president, he will say that just aren't there. A lot of the agents and that things, how to talk to people, how to talk to people in a setting, how to talk to them on the phone, how to what kind of marketing program you have, all these different skill sets. How are you going to close them? What's your beginning, middle, and end? Kind of like what Dean Jackson talked about. Doing direct response marketing. I'll Joe Polish, I love marketing.com, which a lot of you go to. I put that down in a Facebook thing on Facebook pages. I put that down because this agent put up this in this area, put up this stupid billboard, but he had no direct response marketing. You go to ilovemarketing.com and look at it. It was pretty lame. But and a lot of agents do that around here, but they do this all in the US, so it's not plenty of times. So basically, Tom Ferry's talked about this over time. Tom Ferry talked about it a little while ago too. Same thing. And all these agents talk about all these big teams. Prepare for that to vanish into thin air, because theory goes up, and there's less to is going to go down. Mouths are going to come on. Closures are starting to get up. I'm not talking Zillow's for 98 places, cities where it's over. The problem is the agents don't have the skill sets. They're not like the All Eklund or something like that. I'm just using examples, or they've got the skill sets because they can do it and they don't care what the market money. Yeah, and so they have big teams and all that, which doesn't mean. The problem is you have a lot of agents that most of the agents out there, the 3.5 million agents out there, probably 4 million agents out there, because you can't count the National Association of Realtors. Those are the only ones signed up with them. But you got at least under 2 million agents out there that are just independents. And independents more, I don't like franchises. Independents more because you have more flexibility, unless you really, really get broker. Because independents, you can do what you want. You're not part of the NRA. There are some franchises where people aren't part of the, which I think is a good, is a good thing, because NRA doesn't particularly, they help the big firms, but that's about it. But anyway, so you have a lot of agents that aren't that well trained anyways. And so you have a lot of designated brokers, are part of these shops, or broker owners that are franchise owner that owns 40 franchise shops, but doesn't matter because the agents aren't well trained. They don't show them very much. It's just they kind of throw them out there as sheep because everyone's making money. Then things are going to start to contract as the rates go up. Every quarter point they go up, they're going to contract more soon. It's going to be 5.5%, kind of like it was in 1995, 94, 96, 93. When rates were up there, 8.5, 7.75 to 8.5, 8 and 7.75% daily change, and that was between, that was basically what I was floating every day, and it's going to go back again, and a lot of people get initial too. But the problem is that a lot of the agents aren't trained; they don't have the skill sets, so they're going to get washed out. So it's going to go the agents down to whatever, 750,000, and all the agents say, "Oh, good money and do this and that." Yeah, you'll have a lot of foreclosures on the market. A lot of agents won't be able to do anything; they'll be outed, go back and take other jobs and do other stuff. And they can't be full time. There won't be as much financing out there, and the financing again like it did, where they're checking 10 years back into your stuff. The problem is the agents don't have the skill set to survive because they're not looking at the bank. Just trying to put this out there. So if you're a real estate or mortgage broker, you look at it. An investor, it's great for you because you're going to be able to work some really cool deals, especially buildings and commercial buildings and houses too, where you might be able to pick up, clean up cheap. Because I don't disagree with a lot of investors I've seen the same since 2008. I know I got crushed in it. I'll be the first to admit it. So big wasn't big enough, and so I got eaten alive. And sort of tons of other people I know too. But the only thing is I had the skill sets because I've been doing it so long, so I know how to work the system and how to work the mortgages and deals and agents, and basically how to be an agent and what to do. The problem is they're not training you to do it. So what you need to do is you got to start studying some stuff, or you've got to have some other source of income outside so you don't get slammed hard. I mean, I'm just saying that. If you isn't working another gig, do it. The more more hands, more fingers you have in the different pies, do it. Spin as many tops as you can. And if you're doing real estate and mortgages, that's good. Do more tops. You need to get mortgages. You need to get into more things. I always say become both good because you can constantly make money no matter what the market does. Because I've trained enough people and shown enough people in what to do as far as that goes, so they can work it. So you don't get crushed. I start looking at other spheres, other ways to make money. In doing it. Telling some banks right now for foreclosures, credits. Start checking that to try to get on their list to go ahead and list their foreclosure properties at basically different sets of. You need to start looking at commercial if you're just doing residential. Commercial, if you're doing commercial, do residential. You need to start looking at different farming areas you need to farm in to make sure that your name's out there with a direct response piece. So even at the market, they can call you. Start sending your foreclosure postcards out. You can send the letters, more expensive. Postcards are, anyways, they're more effective. Is starting your FSBO hunting. He's going out. Start doing your commercial hunting for commercial buildings. Vacant raw. It's kind of a misnomer because it's hard to sell raw unless you have something on it. Unless you're even in a commercially viable area, those deals are still kind of hard to do. So that's why it's still as far as that goes. Builders are, because right now material costs have gone up so much. And the Midwest is not as bad as the East and West Coast, or the Southwest not as bad. Southeast is not as bad. You can go into Menards. Menards is only basically in the Midwest and some parts of the Southeast and Southwest. But Menards usually is on those in Home Depot. And so pricing wise, but the cost for wood weren't as bad as they were, but they keep fluctuating day to day. When you're looking for drywall, it's the same thing. Drywall is a little cheaper. I've seen it on ours, but I think there are variables in that. And it goes up and down. So you need to look at stuff like that. But as brokers, you need to start looking for ways you do in residential and commercial. And you need to sit down for a half hour or 15 minutes or an hour, whatever, and start looking and start working on it, because there's a depression coming, or they call it a recession. It's going to be a depression, essentially like 2000 worse, because of all the things going up. Like here, we got cheap gas in the state, Missouri, about $3.79. It's a little cheaper, not by much. Oklahoma and Arkansas is cheaper. Texas is pretty close to them. So it's a little more rocked in the East and West Coast as far as gas go. Also, the inflationary costs for food and blah, 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 blah. In all the news, and now to expect everything to rise another 10 to 20%. And I'll give Walmart a 3-pound bag chicken example. A little while ago, a couple months ago, they were essentially $5.97 a bag. They've gone up $2, so about $7 a bag or so, about $8, $8.03. So it's gone up. You're talking 2%, whatever, 30%. So that's gone up, but that all that affects the credit, because people are using their credit cards more, and you kind of see wrong. So what I'm telling you, as a real estate or mortgage broker, you start getting on the. So you got to start doing commercial. If you're doing commercial, you need to start doing residential. You need to start getting your hands in the pies, because down the road, as the rates keep going up, that stuff's going to dry up. Bonds fault again. In a lot of areas, I think the mortgage areas are pretty hard, especially when they had $2.7 trillion in bonds. That last, it's going to get worse this time. They're looking at $3.5 to $4.5 trillion in bonds exploding, and it could be higher. And so that's going to have a major effect because a lot of these funds, advisory groups, big banks on their secondary market aren't going to put out the money because the government's only covering 20, even though about 92% of all the loans are covered by government. Percent, even all the non-subprime, whatever you want to call it, in the non-conforming Alt-A stuff out there, and only the banks, only big banks are holding most of the paper, and big credit unions. A lot of those are basically, a lot of those banks and credit unions basically aren't holding all paper stuff. They're selling that stuff back, even hold it. A lot of them is being held off by XY, and they sell the XY hedge fund that stuff for the rates, and the bonds are usually picked up with kind of a multi deal as far as they might buy mortgage paper at $250 million a pop and get $1 billion worth or whatever, and that's one bond. And there could be mixed bonds too, but those exploded the last time. Like I said, the government, so that could still blow up in the banks. Credit unions generally, they don't hold much paper unless they're really big. A lot of banks don't hold on to a lot of it, portfolio. A lot of these portfolios are sold off to hedge funds, advisory groups, overseas banks, institutional lending. So what I'm saying is a lot of stuff's going to pop off soon and explode. And all these rosy stuff, I see the same rosy crap that I saw last time in 2008. It's up again, and everybody's going to get screwed. So real estate agent or mortgage broker, I mean, yeah, you need to make sure you got to get some more training on how to deal with people. I mean, a lot of people that have been in the real estate or mortgage company, they've done a lot of sales, and they have to deal with people all the time, and so they might be experienced pros, but a lot of people get in there aren't. A lot of people come from different, and they don't have a sales background, so they don't know what to do. They don't have the phone skills, they don't have it. They don't have the marketing know-how. I mean, for phone skills, go to Grant Cardone. Or and I don't mind giving them up because they're good. Wall Street, go check his stuff out because he's got basically the single phone, good phone method. That's something to check out because the thing is that the straight line method, because it really takes it to a new level. Let me check something here. Jordan Belford. I kept saying Jordanians. I don't know. Anyway, Jordan Belford. He's got the straight line theory, and it's a good system. I bought it a long time back. It's pretty stellar. And like I said, because I do so many programs. So, but it's a stellar program. Grant Cardone's got a stellar program. I got that a long time back too. It rocks. Tom Ferry's got a cool program. Those phone skills. He's got even I don't know if I think he teaches his program, but that's in Orange County, but he probably only does it once or twice. And Tom Myers' dad's got a stellar program. Some of the other ones aren't as scored away. Stumps, and I'm not a big fan because I still think he got a lot of stuff from basically, but whatever. If it's true or not, who knows? None of my business. Dean Jackson and Joe Polish, go to iLarkin.com. Direct response, DeanJackson.com. Go to there. He's got a whole real estate thing on, and that's a good program. Single zip code program for mail to send that out. I know because I did it. It works really well, and I made some good cash off doing that. And so you need to look at a lot of things. There's a lot of regional people that do it, trainers that are pretty good. I think myself, I've trained a lot of people that haven't done it. That's going to and I'll start doing down the road online seminars to build this out. But the thing is that you need to look at ways you can protect yourself from when fallout comes, because it's going to come. You're going to be toast. And a lot of agents and mortgage brokers are going to rack out of the business. And so, and that's what I keep saying before. If you're going to be a new real estate agent, like you're an investor or buyer, but you want to get into real estate, you got to look at an office that really knows how to train, especially if you have no sales experience or very limited. And also, too, you need to start looking at it from that. He's got some new digital, which I think is pretty cool. That's something you need to look at. There's a guy, Armenian Ken, I can't remember his last name. Anyway, he's got some pretty good stuff on the fitness industry for a long time, but he's got some pretty cool stuff too. Why giving this stuff out? Because all the stuff is out there, and so I don't mind sharing stuff because you guys can check it out. Like I said, I love marketing.com. Go check that out. GrantCardoneCard.com. Check that stuff you need, especially for sales investors. Go to Cardone on Monday, part of his real estate club. That's awesome too. His Monday show, he goes over real estate and different kinds of financing, basic stuff, but usually I like to go on pretty much into detail. But I'm saying a real estate agent and mortgage broker, you're going to be toast because most of the agents out there don't make more than $50,000 a year. They can get close to that. Most of them don't do more, maybe 10 on average. Most everybody's got a regular job, or they're doing other part-time jobs, or whatever on the side, which is cool. I totally respect that because when I started out in real estate, I was doing a couple part-time jobs on the side. I was working, 80, 90 hours a week. No big deal. I was just doing it. But to factor that in, and that may come back to pass. And like in 2008, a lot of people got crushed. I saw tons of people like myself get crushed pretty hard. And so the thing is, it's just a lot of things. Also, too, credit DTI. That's just another issue because it goes up. Remember, mortgage brokers, when you work with a mortgage broker or a bank or a credit union, I tell you, banks, that's just the way it goes. They're pretty limited on products. Most of the mortgage people, the mortgage people that work for them don't know what they're doing anyways. They don't know what they're doing. At least they know more about what they're doing than the banks and credit unions do. Have a mortgage broker owner, knows more than the banks and credit because they don't know anything and they have limited access to stuff. But anyways, what happens is they're going to pull your credit. One of those three that you go through is the underwriter is going to pull it again towards the end. Add on debt. You can stuff. A lot of people do this because they're not being told this. To make sure you get a copy of your credit report. Some banks and some credit unions, a lot of them like to charge $35, $40. Mortgage brokers, some charge, some don't. But remember, you will get that credit report pen. So once you get a pull once, you don't want to get it. If you're going to shop brokers, they're going to have to pull your credit report. So you want to talk to them in advance, but you don't want to have them pull. But if you do get a pull more than twice, talking to multiple people. So, that's just something to think about. You don't want to get crushed because you get pulled after the first time again, it can go down 5 to 10 points. And that can totally hose you if you're trying to get a loan. So I'm just bringing this stuff out for real estate and some mortgage brokers. You got to start ramping your training up. You got to watch a lot more videos. But a lot of things you need to start really getting down as far as expand business into different areas. Lease, I totally forgot. I hate leases. I used to refer those out because I couldn't. I'll be the first to admit I just didn't like doing them. But you need to start basic. So you got to look at it. If you're an essential agent, you got to start doing all these different things in an agent, basically going after. Besides FSBOs and expires, great areas that are hot. Not gonna have any of those. I'm starting to see more FSBOs come up in the areas I live. But the thing is you need to start looking at other areas to make money. That goes going to foreclosures, putting out door hangers, farm, doing that, going after basically buyers that are rentals. See if you can get them to sell. After commercial owners, apartment buildings. Basically, you might go after farms, landowners, people that have commercial buildings, strip mall, leasing. You got to start learning all these different angles, so you become more effective in your you can become more in what you're doing. And so what I'm saying to you is these are angles to make sure your business is staying on track. You got to start expanding out. The way to do it is now, because I'm telling you, down the road, you're it's going to come down hard, and you guys aren't going to see it, and bam, you're toast, and most of it will be out of real estate. So what I'm saying to you is I just want to see you guys and not get screwed over. And and that's just kind of the deal. I mean, I know this one guy, real estate, had his own company, blah, blah, and he saved up, so he's able to write it out. And he used to call me all the time because I told him his first house and mortgage and this and that. If he watches it, he knows it. But he used to call me all the time and this and that, because he was doing real estate and more, blah, 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 blah. And he built out his thing. He was doing 200 deals a year and blah, 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 blah. And all this other stuff, commercials, this. He was part of the Kinder Reese program, which is fine and dandy. Out of state in Washington, I think he closed his shop or he sold it off. But he used to sit there and call me all the time for advice about this, and this. And then after years and years of doing that, he kind of stopped doing it, and he came into his own, thing, which is cool, because a lot of, but he did 200 deals a year, good. That blows most people out. I mean, I didn't really care because I didn't that, but a lot of them were multiple. So, but still, he did pretty well. He became multi-million stuff. He used to do a lot of stuff with buyers at auctions. I would tell you, if you live in a state, basically the guys are area, get outside of the suburbs, go a few counties out and start once a year when they do the tax sales, get some cash saved up, tax sales. You need to become an expert in it, tax sales, and that's the way you can buy and you can totally work it. So, like I said, auctions aren't really the best place to buy. Price, sometimes you get a good deal, a lot of times not. Auctions, you get a good deal. You got some cash, tax auctions, you work it. So, even if you're in Washington, Oregon, or California, or Idaho, or even in the South, whatever, like if I was in Washington, I would down for a specific county, Cowlitz County, I-5 corridor, that's outside of Seattle, outside of Thurston County, Seattle, going up to Whatcom County in that area, it's too high up. But like from Washington, they've got some areas, eastern Idaho. I mean, you got some areas that are you can go way out areas as long as you're outside of the other areas, but they've got deals you can totally work. They only happen once a year, but you have to find out the state where you can buy, as far as what the regulations are per county. You do it once a year in August, September, whatever, October. Just do your thing. Let's see here. So, anyways, I'm just bringing a lot of this stuff out, and these are just have you try to look at more angles and things to do. But back to one guy out of state in this and that, and I think I know why he moved out of state. But and this had to do some personal stuff. But I mean, his own company, he had some agents for him, and he was doing his own thing. So, he did it. He overcame. He's 2008, 9, 2009. Things were getting rocked. Things were pretty bad. But he had some investors. He was big deal. I'm all cool with it. Because information out there is for free. This is just as far as having the skill set if you're a real estate agent or mortgage broker, but you need to be able to do other marketing and get into other areas of real estate so you can keep. I think that's an important thing that you need to think about. And don't be afraid. Check these trainers out because they're good information. A lot of it's free. A lot of it you can get in their coaching programs. They do one-on-ones on the road. I'll start that. Cast.com, nickforecast.com, and Nick's Forecast. Also, too, if you need funding, I've got a lot of good funders out there. High-end real estate, I've got special funding, but it's on a certain type of deal, especially the business funding, factoring loans. I get some business funding. Then I ask, these are for major, these are for more of the hitters where you're trying to bulk mall, or you're trying to build a building, or you know what I'm saying, or a family, it's like 100-unit funding for some special stuff. But anyway, CobraFunds.biz. Anyways, you guys have a good one to my channel, and see you next time.